right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Dark, Season 3, Episode 8, the series finale.
The series finale.
Oh boy.
One of my favorite shows of all time now. I have been shilling the good word of this show nonstop, I feel like, all throughout Season 3.
See,
and now we're about to be done with this, and
we are.
I'm so excited to see what they do here.
See, I feel like that shows the differences between us, because for me, I'm like, oh man, when I show the show, I'm like, it's this great show, but man, is it heavy. It goes into some aptly dark places.
Yeah, it does. It really does. But I feel like for a show like this, aptly obviously named Dark, but also a time travel, a time loop, and a time disruption kind of story.
Whole muckery.
It allows me to go into those places because the hope that is always waiting at the end of these types of stories.
Exactly.
And yet this is the kind of show where they tease you with there might not be any hope.
Right.
You might be headed towards an end where there is no light at the end of the tunnel.
But clearly there's something. Because Adam just pulled off the universe will cease to exist, or at the very least Vinden and all that stuff.
Yes.
And then
he pressed his undo button. Yeah. And he literally did the
Yeah. Huh?
What? Claudia walks through the doors just like... Yeah, I was outside waiting for 10 seconds. Right. But, I thought, it'd be better if I walked in right now.
That would have been such a... Can you imagine what a Giga Chad play that would have been? To just have Claudia walk in, and he's like, you're not going to stop this. No, watch. Let's just wait, And he's like, wait, what? And then it happens, and she's just like...
terrifying.
Told ya.
Yeah. No, the amount of joy I get seeing older Claudia... who was,
Yeah.
who was given the, terrifying moniker in the earlier seasons of just this harbinger of death.
Right.
And yet it's actually, I'm
the
sorry,
one...
your whole story is a tragedy.
I didn't just play you, I played the other side as well.
I played two universes.
Yep.
That's
some next level.
I had to kill myself in the other universe in order to play you all properly.
But think about it. Those tests of all right, best chess player versus the world. Claudia did that, but against two worlds.
And she eliminated her greatest threat herself to make sure
exactly.
She had all the variables under control.
Yep.
And the amount of lies and trust that had to funnel through her in order to get to this point has me just giddy. And that's why I love shows like this, is that it's equal parts drama and mystery.
Yeah.
There's something so special about a story where I emotionally care enough about the characters that I want to see them both fail and succeed in their understandings of the mystery. Because there are some characters that you just love to see fail.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some characters that you want to succeed, but they can't.
And this show definitely has both of those and everything in between.
And everything in between.
Yeah.
And yet, here we are. The end is here.
Yep.
And is it just the beginning?
Well,
are we actually eternally trapped? Is that the price basically that they all paid in order to not have Adam's, future come about? Is just we have to preserve this.
What I want to
see, generate another world that was
created
and
get the full Trinity symbol or whatever? Yeah.
I mean,
here's what I want to know.
That's kind of what we need, right?
I'm very excited to see what words come out of Claudia's mouth, right? But in a weird way, the thing that I'm most excited to see is when you log into the Dark app, right? And it's you go in for what episode you're at. It shows all the different iterations and stuff across the different time points in time.
Iterations, just the loops, the circles, man.
No, yes,
it's all
just
circles,
right
man.
For the one iteration of what it looks like.
Right.
I want to see what that looks like when I plug in episode 8 for the everything's been done. What is the final picture?
It's just a line, man.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. My biggest hope for this is that when this show ends, my joy and desire to go back and rewatch this show increases from the level it already is right now.
Which is already really damn high.
It's really damn high.
You've already been going back and watching
I've
this show.
already been going back and rewatching the show, and I want to do it again. Because I have specific people that I know. I'm like,
wait, so then,
you would love this show.
Do you think there will come a point then where you're like, okay, I keep rewatching this show, and then you almost feel trapped in this loop of constantly rewatching this show, and then you're like, I must escape from it, but I can't. And then as you go to try and change things, then you just find someone else that you must shepherd through the, I don't know.
I think at that point I just start watching dark reactions at that point. Oh no, we've come full circle. It's too late. Get out while you still can. You can make a choice. There is hope.
And then by the time you watch reactions and then you realize, and this is just another continuation of the, I don't know.
It was.
This show does funny things to our brain juice.
Yeah. Now, go back to, episode 1's reaction and check it out again. Warn us. Give us the info.
That's right.
That's won't change anything.
All the guiding comments and all that stuff is actually just people trying to do that and then realizing, no, we can't.
Right.
It's
So I'll go greet you all in the comments, at that point then as like we did it. It was incredible. But all right. Yeah. Y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Back in the beginning of the show. Yeah.
Okay. Writing the letter. Okay.
Yeah. We're doing a full reference, yeah. No differences.
Right, exactly. Like, because
I'm noticing, like, I'm trying to see if there's anything.
Like, it could be the exact same, but because we've had it established that there can be splits.
Well, yeah, I think it's right now. It's the. Just so you know, this is going to have a dark ending kind of thing. Like.
Oh, sure.
Hat einen Anfang.
Oh, okay. Here we go. Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Hat kein Ende.
Oh. Shit.
Yeah.
Well, that's discouraging.
Das ist unmöglich.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Du bist tot.
Time travel, dude.
Ich habe dich töten lassen.
Du hast immer noch keine Ahnung, wie dieses Spiel geschieht.
Wow, yeah.
Aber jeder Schritt, den du tust, führt dazu, ihn zu erhalten.
Every step, yeah.
Ich habe ihn getötet.
Oh.
Ich habe Martha und den Ursprung getötet.
Oh, you can hear the
Yeah.
oh, the pain.
Deine Welt und Evas Welt. Sie beide hätten nie existieren dürfen.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's too late. That they do exist,
Es ist gedacht, dass der Ursprung in der Verbindung der beiden Welten liegt. Aber in Wahrheit liegt er außerhalb der beiden Welten.
Yeah, of course, it has to.
Unser Denken ist vom Dualismus geprägt.
Okay.
Schwarz, weiß.
Yeah, all that was the lie.
Ohne eine dritte Dimension ist nichts vollkommen.
That's such a good way to say that. Oh, he's about to weep, but he's like, no, I don't know what to do.
Eine dritte Welt.
Introducing that in the final episode. That is wild.
Dieser Knoten geboren
Well, there
wurde,
has to be one because
in der alles seinen Ursprung
where
hat.
there was no time travel. It's
In der ein
him
einziger
making
Fehler
a time
begangen
machine.
wurde.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the idea that you could reach that is the part where it gets crazy.
Ursprungswelt.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Because he spoke. No, but he spoke with confidence that time travel was impossible. So it's the after he already did the thing that he thought would cause time travel, but it actually just, like, it did work, but he didn't think it did.
Right. Yeah.
Dessen hat er seine Welt gespalten und zerstört.
Oh,
Und damit unsere beiden Welten erschaffen.
Wow. Sure.
But if it's destroyed, then effectively these two are all you have now. What do
Right,
you do?
but then it means that there's theoretically no way to undo the origin. It's just done. It's
already gone.
Gibt einen Weg, diesen Knoten zu zerstören.
or
Okay.
Indem wir verhindern, dass in der Ursprungswelt das Reisen durch Raum und Zeit überhaupt erst erfunden wird.
sure. That's
Yeah.
how all these stories should end, really.
Right. Paradise. Okay.
Wow. Okay. That's a great name for an episode. Like
Yeah.
that's hope right there. That's hope. Like that means. Oh, the idea of these two potentially being on a journey together for like a good chunk of this episode just sounds awesome.
Ich hätte dir all das gerne erspart.
Yeah. Why didn't you tell him sooner? Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way. Yeah, there was no way.
It was already so tangled.
Zu diesem Moment.
Maybe because that's what it would take in order to actually convince him. See his whole plan come
Yeah.
to fruition and fail.
Yeah.
Ist das schon einmal passiert?
Dass du versuchst, den Ursprung zu zerstören. Das ist unendliche Mal.
Yeah. No way to know how many times. Yeah.
Was Eva getan hat dazu geführt, den Knoten aus beiden Welten auf ewig aufrechtzuerhalten.
Beautiful.
Like Sisyphus pushing the rock up the hill.
Sie alle müssen sterben, damit sie wiedergeboren werden können.
What?
That's called a red flag right there.
Yeah, I
Sind in der einen und in der anderen Welt allen ihr Leben.
Oh, the way the sound is tricking me right now.
Hat lange auf dich gewartet.
Wow.
Eva will, dass er lebt und muss dafür den Knoten aufrechterhalten.
Oh.
All that to keep. Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah.
Doch habt ihr nichts außer Schmerz und Leid gebracht.
Wow.
Wait, that's not supposed to happen. Wait, who's that? Who's that? Oh, okay. 3 of
Getting
each.
her prepped for the new new role.
Yep.
Alle jemals leben. Dann müssen wir tun, was schon immer geschehen ist.
Wow. That's real damn convincing.
Oh, and with the
Emotional
gun on top
manipulation
of the
with
clothes.
the sun, yeah.
Weil ihr nicht loslassen könnt, was ihr tief im Inneren wollt.
I love the way the voice is trailing through almost hypnotically without even like any origin on screen, you know?
Diese Welt geschieht Gutes.
Wir haben nichts erledigt. Sie hatten gesagt, dass wir die Apokalypse stoppen müssen.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wenn es an der Zeit ist, zu verstehen.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Generational trauma.
God, the perspective shift is so powerful.
Literally
Yep.
were her just a little bit ago.
Niemals existieren dürfen.
God.
Du und Eva. Ihr hättet niemals existieren dürfen.
And in that way they're connected, that they're holding on to survival through each other.
Ich habe 33 Jahre in beiden Welten nach Antworten gesucht.
Cool. Yeah.
Wieder und wieder geboren werden kann. Bis ich begriffen habe, dass wir nicht alle Teil des Knotens sind.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
Lange Zeit gewünscht, dass du der Vater bist.
Oh, shit.
Aber es ist besser so. Sie ist nicht Teil des Knotens.
Oh, shit.
Du weißt, was du tun musst. Mach es schnell.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh.
Es ist kein Leben, das sie lebt.
Oh.
Es muss passieren. Damit ich alles dran setzen werde, es zu
Right. Yeah. Otherwise I won't have it in me.
That's so.
I love seeing all
That's
the
so
old
fucked,
people
though.
like actually like realizing what kind of burden they have to carry forth here, because
Genau
Nee.
wie ihr habe ich Schmerz und Leid.
they burned themselves for a sunrise they'll never see, you know?
Yeah. And maybe others. Oh, that's wild. This version of her didn't have the strength to do all of those things.
No.
And so it's the
Jahre habe ich in beiden Welten nach einem Weg gesucht, wie sie leben kann. Eine Möglichkeit, die Kette
what's this?
sowohl in deiner...
Outfits for time travel, probably.
Oh, sure.
Der Knoten musste aufrechterhalten bleiben.
Right.
Ich musste dafür sorgen, dass ihr beide im Dunkeln...
Stayed in the dark. Nice.
Uh-huh.
Very fitting.
It's not about the themes. It's
Yeah.
about the light. Yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Schritt in diesem Labyrinth. Musste so getan werden wie zuvor.
God, that's why we started the whole dang show with her diagram.
Yeah. Wait.
Ist hier gerade jemand vorbeigekommen?
He attacks middle-aged Helga.
Wow.
Wir werden auf ewig tun, was wir schon immer getan haben.
Hey.
So there was a decent bit of difference
Yeah.
because it being artificially, you know, forced.
1986.
But how would he have been manipulated?
Just let it play out, man. Like, oh,
Es gibt keinen Unterschied zwischen den beiden Welten. Die Dinge passieren vielleicht nicht auf dieselbe Art und Weise.
Right.
Einer in diesem Knoten kann seinem Schicksal entkommen.
Du bist es gewesen.
wow.
I love it.
That's incredible.
Jedes Puzzlestück findet immer wieder seinen Platz.
Wow.
Aber ich weiß endlich, wie man den Knoten lösen kann.
Oh.
Okay.
Eva weiß das. Sie nutzt das Schlupfloch in deiner Welt, um ihr jüngeres Ich in die eine oder andere Richtung laufen zu lassen.
Whoa.
Okay.
Ich habe es genutzt, um mich ebenfalls in eine andere Richtung laufen zu lassen.
Whoa.
Und damit den Kreislauf endgültig zu brechen. Jonas und Martha, sie sind schuld daran, dass alles...
I love it. This is a very dangerous person to give this info to, but that would be so fitting if he is the one that fixes it.
Oh my God. So in that like moment of frozen time will open a gateway
Yeah.
to the only world basically that it would have access to,
I love it. And
because that's the moment of everything.
right. And we had it set up. Yeah, here. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh shit.
Wow.
Literally after you just killed her.
Yeah. Instead of it being Martha showing up. Oh.
Was soll das? Was ist das?
I also love it thematically because it's the
Das ist unsere letzte Hoffnung.
yeah. Awesome.
Oh, in
Now
the
you have to
caves.
face what you did, right?
Yeah.
Du nicht zu mir werden musst. Wie all das hier niemals passieren muss. Aber dafür musst du mir vertrauen.
What a sick joke.
Yeah. Time is a sick joke, you know? Just an old man.
Yep.
Es ist ebenso ihre Schuld. Ihr seid zwei Teile eines Ganzen. Nur gemeinsam könnt ihr zurück in die Ursprungswelt.
Right. So,
Wissen ist ein Tropfen.
yeah.
Was wir nicht wissen,
So, it's an ocean.
ein Ozean.
Just whatever you do, use a condom.
goes.
Okay.
Das Schlupfloch. Es existiert auch hier. Für
Okay.
einen Moment wird die Zeit stillstehen.
And so you both have to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Musst Martha holen. Bevor Magnus und Franziska sie holen.
Cool.
Nice.
Before even that point.
Ist wieder passiert.
Yeah. So you've got to go right now. The fact that
love
he's
it.
willing to hand this over.
Dann wird Jonas auf seinen Weg schicken. Er und Martha.
Wow. Incredible. Oh.
I love it.
Now it's time to go off to die. And passed on what she needed. Oh. Yep.
Okay.
All right. Run, Jonas, run.
Yep.
Bartosz is gonna see fucking Jonas come like crashing out. No, I need to take Martha away from you.
And he's gonna be like, "Who the hell are you?" Oh wait, no. There's the other one from this world. Yeah.
Now he's the stranger, you know.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Okay. You didn't beat them here. Gotta go.
Just turn it on now and start running.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
All right, go.
Go. And just boom, tackle.
Yeah. They're like, huh?
Oh my gosh!
I love it.
Yes!
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that'd be so
Right?
wild.
Right?
Yeah, shit
He
gets
just
weird.
went through all that.
Yeah.
he just pops in and just like, hey,
Hi. So,
Du siehst aus wie sie.
yeah, you're not him.
because he's not that one as well, so
No.
he doesn't know what she knows about him, and he doesn't know what.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this track has always just like spiked my heart rate. Yeah.
Welche Zeit sind wir?
It's now what time? It's which world?
Warum sind wir hier?
I'd love if we'd had the answer to that question, Martha.
Yeah.
I'd love to have an answer to why are we here.
Der Uhrmacher. Wird heute die Passage zum ersten Mal öffnen.
Was?
The amount of just mental and emotional elasticity you'd need.
You would need so much.
Wir müssen verhindern, dass es jemals passiert.
You would need so much.
Was soll das heißen?
Yeah, wait, what? You can't just say that!
Yeah.
Seeing it already burnt. Well, no, you're doing your part in this one, yeah. I love the image of oil paintings burning because they're oil, but also the way in which then things will distort and melt and everything. I love the darkness, my old friend. Yeah, he's got to have a conversation with older Martha. Oh my God.
Es ist etwas kompliziert zu erklären. Man muss sie holen, bevor sie gestorben sind.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hence the.
Or stop. Yeah. Stop.
Yeah, stop the crash. Yeah.
Loslassen kann, was ich will. Aber wir sind der Fehler.
It's Ariadne all over
Yeah.
again. It's the play. It's the
Yeah.
the glitch. They're their connection, their existence.
Dass wir nie existieren.
That face.
Yeah, that's
that's the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
Right.
Let's travel down the labyrinth together. One last time.
Ich weiß, warum du hier bist.
Hey, so he was the one, burned. Yeah, cool.
Du wirst mich heute töten. Martha wird mich finden. So wie ich einst mich gefunden habe.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's amazing.
Das ist nicht richtig.
It's over.
So ist es nicht passiert.
Yeah.
Du wirst sterben.
I will die.
Ich
Ja.
werde sterben.
Ja.
Und alles, was aus uns gewachsen ist.
Oh, this is the conversation I had been waiting for.
Ja.
Der Tod ist etwas Unbegreifliches. Aber man kann sich mit ihm versöhnen.
Oh, yeah. That's been in a lot of ways the journey for so many of these characters.
Wow.
An diesem niemals endenden Déjà-vu.
Aha.
Und wir sind diejenigen.
Yeah. Bring it all the way back.
Wir sind der Fehler.
The thing that they fought so hard to hold on to, that
Yeah.
you were right, you and I. Yeah. God.
Okay.
Oh, but that's the true sacrifice of a heroine or a hero, a protagonist is
It's not about what I want.
yeah.
Durch beide Welten. Alles ist Ursache und Wirkung.
Whoa.
Zum Handeln formt unser Wollen.
The aspect ratio, that's cool.
Thanos hat in der Ursprungswelt alles verloren, was ihm jemals etwas bedeutet.
Whoa.
Sie müssen in der Ursprungswelt verhindern, dass unsere beiden Welten
Gotcha. So they wait for the end here.
werden.
And then that's, well,
Well, because there's going to be something that's created here, like at the point of the apocalypse, basically.
Das ist der Moment, an dem die Passage zum ersten Mal geöffnet wurde.
Yeah, we wait for the apocalypse together, wait for the end of the world.
Einen kurzen Augenblick wird es eine Brücke geben.
Right? Yeah, there had to be an entry point, basically, of this world being created, and they're just gonna go back
oh, gotcha.
alongside that bridge.
Gotcha. Right. They're not in his world yet. Yeah.
No. Perfect. They
Okay.
have to go together, though. You both have to go.
Yep. Also, I love the detail that when she went to click the gun, it wasn't because she couldn't die because of time or whatever. He took out the bullets.
Yeah, let's have a light show. Wow.
All right.
This is just the
Martha?
the dust of that world,
Sure.
the
Something.
passage itself, you know.
Right.
Fun. There's any time you're gonna go and just have a
A trippy.
CGI,
Yeah.
full-on environment for. Wow. Forever lost, trying to find each other. That's cruel. If this is their end.
Martha!
This is a nightmare.
I mean, if that...
Jonas!
Was he manipulated one last time? They're both just... Oh shit. Okay, okay.
They were already moving. They were already moving.
What?
Da bist du.
Er sieht traurig aus.
Wer sieht traurig aus?
Der Junge, der da steht.
Oh.
Aber da ist niemand. Da ist doch nur eine Schrankwand.
Wow.
They're still linked. They're still linked. Like. And this is why their fates are intertwined, is that she also sees...
Ein Mädchen.
Das ist kein Mädchen.
And so
Well,
is
they
this...
found each other.
But giving them the choice of, if you had the opportunity, right, to mess things up again, would you?
Yeah. You guys are what's wrong. You wow. That's...
So it wasn't even getting them back to the original world, just removing them from the equation so they don't propagate it.
Yeah. No way. In the fold between things. No way.
Oh shit.
No
Yeah, because there's
way.
3 passages in the tunnel. All right, yeah, let's go.
Which means we have to go there, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep, hold those hands.
I love it. In a moment of stopped time, in a moment disconnected from time,
Yeah.
they had all the means by which to see like a world where they wanted to find the other again, and nope, they headed towards oblivion. They headed towards something new. Cool. It's their choice.
Okay.
So Tenhouse has them come home.
Es regnet draußen. Ist das alles, was du dazu zu sagen hast?
I love it. The tick-tock of the clock in the background.
Ja,
the...
ja.
Du hast mir doch gesagt, die Welt da draußen wäre voller Geheimnisse. Und dass das, was wir wissen, ein Tropfen in einem unendlichen Ozean ist, ja?
Yeah, fun. Fun. How do they change this? This is just them grabbing their keys out of the car? Like, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, do they come in here and tell them to go after them? Do they take out the spark plug so they can't start the car? Like...
They stand in the road and they freak out and drive off and then die. That's why the accident's caused, you know, them trying to prevent it.
Oben geguckt, Sterne, Galaxien, beschissene Universen und mich. Mich hat er nie gesehen.
Wow. That's in a lot of ways the themes of all the characters in this story.
Yeah.
Deine Familie eben nicht aussuchen.
They never just looked at who was right next to them, yeah.
Ja.
Yeah.
Hey.
Mich hast du dir ausgesucht.
Ah, no!
No, don't look away from the road! Oh wait, but this is before the bridge. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, and at this spot.
Incredible.
Was machen die da?
Warte mal.
What the hell? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They're just not responding at all.
Ist in Ordnung?
Yeah, what do you say?
Tür ist gesperrt.
Was?
Tell your father that. Oh, cool.
Komm, geht mal nach Hause.
Was wir wissen, ist ein Tropfen.
Wow,
Was wir
yes.
nicht wissen, ein Ozean.
Nice.
That's what you say.
Oh shit.
Ich würde alles für dich tun.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. Stop right there.
Die Tür ist gesperrt.
Komm. Los, komm. Marek!
Yeah, because theoretically they don't even need to stop them from leaving. Just stop them from taking that bridge.
Right, yeah.
Weißt du was, du hast recht. Wir sollten morgen fahren.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got bad vibes.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Oh.
I love it.
So now,
But now they're here. You're in this world.
right. But do they cease to be, or do they find their paradise here?
I
And
think
get
they
to
find their
live
paradise
together?
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's looking at this place all sorts of different now.
Ich weiß auch nicht. Ich hatte nur plötzlich so ein
Deja vu.
Gefühl.
Yeah.
I would say glitch in the Matrix, but that movie hasn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Schön, dass Sie wieder da sein.
Yeah, you guys get a do-over. You get a whole other chance.
Bring die Taschenlampe schon mal hoch.
Yeah. We'll work on this
Over time.
over time. Yeah.
We've got plenty of it. Mm-hmm. How's little Regina or something?
Magst du?
Charlotte hatte ich auch schon vermisst.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Hilf Marek.
Sorry for the cringe, y'all. I was like, well, just in case, there was some
Oh, no, yeah.
shenanigans there. But no, it's obviously Charlotte. Yeah.
Yep.
Glaubst du, es hat funktioniert?
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, is this the kind of show that doesn't confirm it with us? We don't have to know.
I mean, they could get confirmation later of like, okay, no one died tonight.
Well, they wouldn't get that confirmation.
No, like check the newspaper or something like that,
Oh, I was meaning that they wouldn't know whether or not
Yeah.
things are different,
Ich hab dich gesehen.
Yeah, I saw you too.
Was warst du?
Wow.
Es war kein Traum.
All along, those little deja vu moments were just because of the vision they
yeah.
had of the end. Yeah, I don't think we're getting it, but what I would give to see the worlds that they basically abandoned to create.
Oh, okay, so we are doing that. All
We
right.
are doing this.
All right, I wasn't sure. I was like, are they just gonna live in this world now, or? Okay.
This is all within the frozen time,
That is so wild to, after all of the time travel stuff, to be able to pull off the, you change the past, and that changes, like that, edit updates things that are incorrect.
Oh,
it
the
works.
opening! The opening!
Oh, nice.
The taking of the hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Hold out your hand, give me a sign. Carry
I see trees of green.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
That's a decision.
Well done.
That's a decision that I
Well
support.
done. Yeah.
What a wonderful
Think to
world.
myself,
What a wonderful world.
Oh, some of my favorite
Oh.
moments are just renditions of this song.
Yeah. Eyes of blue.
Are also on the faces.
Oh, and the names disappearing
my
too.
Gosh.
I love it.
I mean, there's not much that's going to be left from their
Oh no.
their worlds and stuff. Yeah. Let's get specific here. This is like the reward for, paying attention is how many people are
Yeah.
not even going to be remotely like,
day alone.
Yeah, there should only be a few people left, really, when all this is done.
Wow.
Yeah, the moment of their hands connected was the last little moment. So is that the show? Is that it?
No, we gotta have epilogue.
Die Lasagne noch mal warm machen? Ja.
Warte, ich helfe. Nimmst du mal?
Ich mach mal eine Flasche auf, ja?
Ja, mach mal.
Hilf mir doch mal.
Komm ich auch einen Schluck? Ja.
Ah! Ah!
Ich. Und danke für die Einladung.
Oh!
Ja.
Holy shit!
Wait, yes!
Sieht viel besser aus.
Du hast uns nie erzählt, was da eigentlich genau passiert ist.
Oh!
Ja, hast du auch noch nie gesagt. Erzähl mal, Torben.
Komm, erzähl.
Wow.
That's hilarious! We'll never know.
Im Sommer ist.
Yep, something happened.
That's
That was there
fantastic.
just to scare us, too.
Ist das jetzt die Apokalypse?
Eine Kerze.
Ja, warte, ich hier nach Feuer. Feuer?
Oh my gosh. Just,
Hier. Hannah?
Hannah just got a deja vu hit.
Ist alles okay?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Oh my god! You can't do that! Right.
Yeah.
Katharina and Peter. Oh my gosh.
An, aber ich habe genau das hier letzte Nacht geträumt. Und irgendwie war die Welt zu Ende.
But that didn't happen. Yeah.
Nichts.
Well, lucky for you, Peter might be a therapist in this world.
Eine Welt ohne Wind. Darauf stoßen wir an.
So Vinden does still exist.
Actually, now that I think about it, there's no like.
Sieht so aus, als ob Winden nicht so einfach gehen.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Vielleicht ist es ja auch besser so.
Okay, so some of these characters are together.
Ich weiß nicht.
Yeah, no, we don't.
But maybe Jonas?
No name, you know.
No, they're gonna do it.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. While staring at
Ich
the
glaube, ich finde Jonas einen schönen Namen.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you end the series. Fantastic. Oh my god.
What a ride.
What a ride.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We're done.
That was wild.
Dark is done. We've got a lovely little epilogue scene to bring some levity to this dark journey.
And to show
bring
who
some
actually
light.
is still there in the cast.
Right.
It's a half a dozen people.
It's a half a dozen people, right?
Yeah, right.
I love that Hannah basically is the one that's kind of the through line for us, though, in that she's the one that has the deja vu. She has the most dramatic difference in character, I would say, also.
Between the different worlds, but then also...
Well, between basically who she was supposed to be and who she ended up becoming because of the time travel and stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's a good
like,
point.
basically, I mean, like, this Hannah is just a
well-adjusted
just
person.
a well-adjusted person. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
Like, she got fucked up by time travel, basically.
Yeah.
So that's not a thing. And so she's just living happily with the person who crushed on her apparently all along.
Yep.
And the
Right.
eye thing, it's not that big of a deal. Not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's nothing.
Yeah.
It's nothing. He bears it with no shame or pain.
Right. It's just he's healed up, pretty well.
Yeah,
Right,
and
he's
then
able to have the eye patch off.
Regina and Katharina are happily single. I would say
And
on the surface, meaning that they don't have to deal with their chaotic other person coming into the whole thing, which is fun because that hints specifically at Alexander.
Sure.
Being basically a part of the whole, time stuff specifically.
Oh, sure. And just something that we just never learned.
Like, there's
like he didn't come to Vinden.
Right. there's some definite things that I think we could pull apart with regards to like who and why and how and all that.
Yeah.
Part of it, I would say, definitely has to do with the gun. And some potential movements and stuff.
Well, and
by
it's also possible. Actually, no, hang on. Let's be real. I think there's a decent possibility that Alexander is still in Vinden, and him and Regina just didn't get together because one of the reasons that he ended up being so awesome for her was because he came in when Ulrich and Katharina were tormenting her.
Right, and that never happened.
And that never happened because Ulrich wasn't in the picture.
Right.
Right? And so then it's just...
Ulrich would never have existed.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And so there never was this, this terror, that she had towards Katharina and all that stuff. And so he might be here and it's just, he's just a dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe.
Yeah.
But also he might not have ever...
Come here
because of the murder situation, all that not happening, which
Yep.
I will have to try and piece that together because I have some ideas, but I'd rather focus on what we did actually get this episode.
Right.
Peter and the Dopplers, that's the Regina explanation there.
Yep.
And that it was Bernd and Claudia's child.
Which totally makes sense.
Sure, yeah. And then with regards to Bernadette.
Yes.
Yeah, they're able to happily
just
be
together.
With Peter. So we have, for all intents and purposes, a happy ending. But it's more that the Adam and Eve kind of comparisons went so deep, obviously because their existences and their child basically ended up being the propagator through everything,
and
to create all the bloodlines basically.
And I love that the child, right,
almost all of them,
that was introduced as such a force in this last season was not actually tied to the resolution.
No,
it was tied to the mechanics of how everything worked together, and so the resolution was needed and all that stuff. But they played no part in the fixing of things, right?
No, they were just a means by which
we could understand exactly how entrenched the tangled mess of
how entrenched Martha's side of things was that she also in some fascinating way wanted to preserve the fruit of their love as well. The idea that she's fighting against her ex-lover in a lot of ways, who together they created this knot. And the beautiful knot is this child born out of incest, basically, which I kind of love the dark aspect of that, in that it would need Jonas as Adam to basically come to Martha with the offering of peace and the apology and the love and the let's hold each other and embrace in this moment
as we disappear into
and basically acknowledging all the pain and suffering that they caused. They're willing to take responsibility for it and go and
fade away.
That's just powerful. I love the way the older characters were used in this episode.
Yes.
The stuff with Claudia and seeing Tronta as Tronta realizes, I thought she was my daughter all along.
She wasn't.
But it's but yes, even though she was effectively yours from an emotional standpoint, I need you to go kill her now so that I will have the capacity to do this and not be distracted.
Right. And this was a wonderfully satisfying way to end things. Mechanically, I feel like it worked on to a level of depth that if there is a way in which it breaks down 6 layers deep, I don't particularly care, right? And I'm not saying it does, but if it did, right?
You have to go beyond the surface to find those parts.
Basically. Yeah, exactly, right.
And there probably are some things that are loose-ish ends, but they're not they're not
the whole thing of Alexander, right? But it's not particularly important.
But see, the thing is that I feel like with the gun and everything, I could reverse engineer what was going on there.
Maybe the better way to put it is it would have been out of character for that to have been gone into in depth because he's not a perspective character, because he's not driving the conflict of the story. And he would keep that as secret as humanly possible.
Right.
So we just don't learn what that was. It had a connection, and maybe we can reverse engineer some things.
I think what I would love to do is watch this show again and look for a lot of those types of things and see what we could find, because I'm sure there are some things like that, but they're probably mapped out in some way. But having the story focus primarily on Jonas and Martha, and then by extension Adam and Ava, I loved that, because Claudia comes in as the third, the wild card, the thematic, literal representation of the, you guys are so stuck thinking in dualities, you forgot that I was here.
Right. You forgot that, like, which I love as an explanation for things, where it's the, oh yes, absolutely, we've gotten into bootstrap paradox for a long time now. But remember, in order for that to work, it had to start.
It had to have an origin point.
And so if you're chasing after the origin point in a situation with a whole shit ton of bootstraps, it can only be a couple things.
Right.
And so Adam's thing of like, it's when my father killed himself, or whatever. It's like, that's a potential option. It's not what it actually is, but right? That's thinking along the right lines.
Well, because part of it exists in both of their minds as either both of these worlds are wrong, or no, stop trying to undo all this and let it basically
run its course.
Let it run its course so that we can have true rebirth, that we can actually have something iterative.
Also,
they both were wrong, and they both basically thought the solution lied within these universes, but
there is also something very satisfying to me about the idea that in the time travel show, where the two antagonistic forces are not scientists, that the one scientist in the story is the one that actually has it all figured out. Like that just makes sense, right? Like, even if you spend your life like working on this and obsessing over it and experimenting with it,
and they have enough
and all those things, they'll have
proficiency,
a damn good understanding of how it works. But it makes sense that they would be bested or have miss something that then the person who, was, dedicated their whole life to this even beforehand, and, all of, like, studied it and, everything, would be the one who would be like, oh, yeah, no, there's a third world that originated this. That's what makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of ways, like, we figured that out long ago.
With the whole thing of like, and that's
it
one
had to have an entry point. There had to have been a bridge at some point, where we would find
the time travel started,
and we were right.
Oh, hey, it's the person that wrote the book on the time travel. Like, it's staring you in the face.
Well, right, it's staring at you in the face. But I think what the point that we were getting at was that eventually you figure out that Tannhaus is kind of the thing that doesn't fit of the people that are outside, because there's a lot of people outside the knot, basically outside of the loop. They're not there because of a time travel paradox child relationship with all that, but it's the wait, where is the bridge though? Like, where is that point? And the idea that all the stuff with the God particle, all the stuff with the caves, all the stuff with the 33-year repeating tragedies at the power plant, basically, giving us so there's going to be a point where all that will happen, and that stuff is happening at those points, in those loops, in those specific points, because that's when Tannhaus in the original world basically created time travel. He tore open the gateway between worlds.
And that's why it makes sense for him to have been the one to bootstrap, or to be integral to bootstrapping the time machine, because why would it start with him otherwise? It makes sense for him to be the one who has the book, and the show does such a good job of obfuscating in satisfying ways that, like, while and using the fact that he kind of represents he's the wizened old person that you go to ask about time travel and stuff.
Oh, right, because from a structure perspective, he needs to tell us, the audience, how this stuff
Right,
works.
exactly. He very much serves a purpose in the role of the plot and the narrative outside of the literal plot things that are happening, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, totally. And that makes us buy into it, right? And not think too deeply on it, because the show basically says, hey, there are reasons for it. Here's what we're giving you. And trust that is basically good enough. And we're like, yes, okay. And then it's like, all right, but we button this up. So, you know how we kind of made you just trust us that it was good enough? Yeah. Well, that's actually where the whole thing was.
Yeah, it was
it's
right
like,
there.
damn it! Like that's such a good way to do it, because
Yeah.
then it's banking on audience good faith while subverting it, while at the same time reward. Like, there's no point where you have to rely on good faith in order for the story to make sense. You just won't get what's going on necessarily until we get to the point where then the characters learn it, right?
Right. And that was fun, because I feel like we kind of got the expected resolution of why why all of this didn't just end in a collapsed, everything just falls apart.
Sure.
And then it's just, what's this new world with all the characters reborn or no memories or something like that. It's this all happened. The actual consequences.
Yep.
People have the residual effect of the travelers, basically, that left their residual marks on the world. Hannah has the deja vu and she sees that yellow coat, and it's like,
yeah,
wait, I had a dream about this. It's like, yes, this was all real. This was not all a dream or what have you.
Yep.
The simplest answer is that we used time travel to undo time travel. And, in some ways it wasn't time travel. It was world line travel.
Yeah, like the different levels. This also just feels like a wonderful, a celebration of time travel media, because if you look at the mechanics that we have in the time travel over the course of this show, they have their cake and eat it in 4 dimensions, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like there's the fact that it's the 33 year, you can only go to those points in time and all that stuff, and so we get all the satisfying stuff that we've talked about over the course of the show.
Right.
Cool,
the only reason
awesome.
why you think that is because Claudia's hiding the truth from everybody.
Sure, yeah. And then we have the whole thing of, time can't change things.
Yeah.
But then we make it so that that's actually fundamentally baked into, yes, the mechanics of the world, but then also the themes of the characters, and that they're not able to grow and move on, right?
Well, right. And the reason why you can't change things is because people have been fighting so hard to not just change things, but also to not change things.
Right.
There is literally 2 sides, yes, at war with each other, and we hear about this from the very beginning, that they're trying to both change and not change things, but that tension leads things to be very tight, where it could then look like there is no way to undo any paradoxes. Nothing is really immutable, or
then
nothing's mutable. It's all iron locked in.
But then here's the other thing that this maybe just tickles my funny bone with regards to a lot of the time travel media that we've had, right?
Yeah.
If you have something where the timeline is locked in, right? It can't actually be changed. Well, then what happens once the time travel is created, right? Like, if there's
it instantly propagates itself.
Right, instantly propagates, but then that lends itself to the explanation that the show gives of it's in that specific moment when the crazy thing happens, that's when things can actually change.
Yeah.
Because that's how the time travel came into being, right? You know,
time broke for a second.
Yeah. And
which means it broke infinitely also as well, because there's no time there. At that moment there is no time.
And that's
and that's how you can have anything change, is because then if someone's literally moving around in a place with no time, well, that's literally time travel.
And I'm sure that there are people that are theoretical physicists that could say, no, there's actually that is a little bit self-contradictory, maybe, but it works great for me, and I think it works great for the narrative.
Yeah.
And so it's a way that basically the show can then introduce effectively a new mechanic, like they introduced a whole new world in the final episode.
I think that was
it was very well foreshadowed.
That it was
totally.
foreshadowed.
Yeah. But one of the fundamental rules of wrapping up a story is you don't introduce something massive at the very end, right?
Right.
And they did it both in the world and then also the mechanics of the idea of, and this is how you change things, with time travel and all that stuff, right?
Right.
So
but what's cool about this is that they had to do this. there was, in my mind, no satisfying way they could end the story without doing essentially this.
Right.
Like, there's probably a way that they could do something similar, but it wouldn't be exactly this. But it was definitely a thing where the way they had set it up was like screaming at us for the third world.
Right.
But it was just really the thing of where we were thinking about it from the meta perspective of we don't have time to bring an actual true third world in. And so they cheated and didn't actually bring the third world in.
But
they had a set of 2 scenes.
Yep. But
the scene in the workshop
Uh-huh.
and the scene at the intersection.
But something that I want to bring up
Yeah.
is that I think they so they did something that is, I think, makes it very efficient, and it also tied it into the themes and the characters and all that stuff.
Sure.
But the idea that all of the genealogies were so like cyclical, you know, right? Like so tied into everything.
Yeah.
That makes sense, because if you have time travelers that are going back and are trying to change things, then yes, you absolutely want to plug yourself in and do all that stuff,
news.
right? That's old news.
Yeah.
But as a result of doing that, that also makes it so that when you go to the third world that you want to eventually get to, the cast that you have to resolve things for is very small, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
From a structure perspective, it makes the show easy to end on.
You have your dinner scene with 6 characters,
Well, that's
right?
why I was saying that
and there
the
you go.
third season had been from the beginning telling us basically how this was going to end.
Right.
A lot of these characters, we need to see their resolutions long before we got to this episode here, because they don't matter in the happy world where we stop all this somehow.
Right.
Because
They're
none
gone.
of them are real.
They don't exist.
None of them,
So we do
none of
need
them
to-
should have existed
Right.
at all. Yeah.
We needed Hannah, like, just using her as an example, we needed her to get actual character, like, resolution before we get and then here's this other universe where she's like this.
Right,
or
right.
for Katarina or things like that, right?
Well, yeah, Hannah's not really the one I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, Katarina. I'm talking about the people that are, like... Well, actually, no.
Katarina's here, too.
Katarina's here, too.
But it's
You're
the
right,
thing
you're
of...
right,
But
yeah.
it's the thing of where, as a
Yeah.
result of their interactions with the other people, they are fundamentally different people over here. And so maybe
Yes.
the better example would be someone who actually, like, just doesn't exist over here.
Right.
I'm trying to think of examples. I don't know.
Well, Ulrich.
Ulrich, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Ulrich. Yeah, we needed
Ulrich's
to have...
the classic example. That's why they showed
'cause-
him
good point.
in this episode going through the same path, both
Also,
different ways.
I
there.
love the idea that in the other world, when Helga's like, oh shit, wait, I can change things. He's not thinking about stop himself from kidnapping people or whatever. We don't even necessarily know if he, like, well, no, he did confess to it, I guess. But he goes back and he's like, all right.
Pickaxe kills Ulrich.
Crowbar just...
No, that was a pickaxe, man.
Oh, was it?
Or was it a crowbar?
I think it was a crowbar.
Oh, okay. No, pickaxe was Noah and Bartosz.
Yeah.
Right.
But just the idea of like, nah, I'm just gonna wait. Like, I'm old, so I can't actually beat him. I can't save myself from getting attacked. Totally. But
Right.
I know he takes him down here, and that's a doorway, and he's not gonna expect anyone down there. All right. And also that then explains the how he was okay afterwards, because guess what? His attacker was dealt with, right?
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I think as far as a time travel show, giving us a character like Claudia, who all along the whole story here, she was a dark alternate version of both Adam and Martha. Now, we didn't know about Martha
At the
in
beginning,
the beginning, but we knew rather quickly kind of the way that they were setting up Jonas even before we met Adam. Like, there was some things about older age, middle age, Jonas that was just kind of sitting like odd with us. The way that he was manipulating his younger self, the way in which he was kind of like keeping things close to the chest. Like, there was something about that was like, oh, odd. And then Claudia is there going about doing everything because she's manipulated her younger self to want to save Regina, when she knows all along that she's going to take Regina away from her at the last possible second, basically, in order to break her so that she focuses entirely on letting go of this and being okay with not trying to save her, which is the fun thing that the other characters probably could not have used that tactic on themselves because of how entrenched they were in their desire.
Well, and yeah, so
I want to get into that aspect.
Yes.
The three characters trying to learn from their desires and letting go of
well,
stuff.
not just like, you know, Adam and Martha, but if you think about it, that's also a very good reason for why Claudia played things close to the chest from the beginning.
Yes.
Once you have Adam and Martha doing their whole war thing and all that stuff, yeah, totally. But, you know, going back to just because you bootstrap it doesn't mean you don't also need to answer the question of the bootstrapping and all that.
Right.
Is that given that the way to fix this is to make it so that there are only 6 people of our main cast that are still around, you fundamentally probably don't want to be telling a lot of the people that you're manipulating that won't exist in this, you know, end world that you're going to get to, that it's like, sorry, you just bye, you know, like that's not exactly going to get them to work with you. So you have to be cagey. You have to be like, you know, very like, all right, yeah, I'm doing things, you know.
Actually, thinking about it that way, Claudia could be the reason why Alexander came into the picture. This is her looking out for her daughter, basically.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
and basically
I can see that.
sets up a way for the gun to get brought in to then have the characters then use
and
it
also,
at these key points for specific things.
Well, and also it could be seen as the that bit of the humanity where it's the, okay, this is still my daughter. She dies in all these different timelines.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen, but it needs to happen. I'm trying to save her eventually, but until then, I will orchestrate someone to come into her life that will make her life easier. That will be there for her, and, you know, and all of that, while I'm doing all the ends justify the means, whatever's necessary, you know, like kind of stuff.
Right. I just find her journey as a force within the story so fascinating on the like rewatch potential.
Yep.
Like there's so there's so much.
Well, because if you think about it too,
get into here,
she is like, so if we go back to the beginning of the story, right? Our main characters are very much like Jonas and Ulrich, right? Like Jonas being the, you know, troubled boy, main character energy, all that stuff, and then Ulrich being the, I'm the one who's trying to figure out what happened to my son, right?
Yeah.
Jonas ends up being really important because, you know, Adam and all that stuff, right? But he's not actually, like, he is the one who fixes things, and so that's why it's so wonderful that, you know, Adam comes back and does, help set things right. But Ulrich, he's we see exactly how dark this show is, and so then he's not the main character, right? But Claudia is this just person in the background, right? That is actually steering the ship, right? And
because she's let go of her desire. She's
And the thing is that if you have something where you're in a time travel show of this has actually been planned meticulously and it will succeed, and the show has been that the entire time, even though that character is sort of the protagonist, you cannot have them be the perspective character for the majority of the show because everything's going right for them, right? There will still be all the character struggle of, you know, emotionally dealing with things and making sacrifices and all that stuff, but you can't actually have them be the perspective character. And so then, you know, we don't see much from her. She is the person that's sort of on the outskirts, the, you know, the mysterious old woman that shows up and, you know, says cryptic things or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Because that's how it has to be.
Right, and I loved the idea that in some ways her desire ended up giving her the key to letting go of things as well. Is that there's a difference between being like, okay, Martha and Jonas love each other.
Yep.
Obviously because of their fates tied through, you know, knots and all kinds of stuff there.
Crazy
and then
time travel,
deja vu of seeing that person through the point in time and all this stuff. Has no beginning or end. Beautiful, very existential, hard to really grapple with from like a relatability standpoint.
Yeah.
Claudia's is very simple. She has a daughter who's dying of cancer. The cancer comes about in a lot of ways because of her own actions. Like Claudia's own probable existence ends up perpetuating in a lot of ways probably how she gets cancer. Like that's a very decent possibility. It could also be the hint of potentially Burn's parentage as well being part of it.
Possibly.
But let's just go with the part that they focus on in this episode here, that she's saying, nothing what I can do will save Regina. She will die no matter what.
Yeah.
Therefore, the only way to save her is to go to the world
where she
doesn't die.
Right, like, yeah.
Which means I have to find...
neither of these two, so...
So there must be another one. And there has to be an origin world that's different. Obviously, I think it's something that maybe belittles the characters a bit, to assume that they would never have thought of the idea of a third world.
Yeah,
but it's more that they're like, well, no, we can't just go back to that. There's no... Like, we've searched plenty for that. We gave up on that thing. We have to find the answer in the labyrinth, in the mess, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's probably what it was, is that they were both like, oh, once you find out there's another world, it's the gotcha. That means there is potentially more, but what would that even be?
Yeah. And for Claudia, in a lot of ways, her connection to life, the reason why she's doing this, is that she's like, no, there must be. There must be something where I can, at the very least, save her. Well, it's not about, I need to save myself, which is what Adam and Martha or Adam and Eva have been doing, is that they are using their own stuff to propagate themselves so that they can get their goal. Claudia willingly goes to her death. She's like, I don't need to see my daughter. I just want to make sure that she gets to live. She gets this life. And because she's not tied to the knot in an objective way,
and also
through the looping and stuff.
If you think about it, with what Claudia is shown to do with her time traveling, right? With Adam and Eva, it's the make their soldiers, propagate things to be exactly the way they are. Whereas Claudia is doing it as an investigation.
Right.
She's the one with the tapes,
yes.
right? How does this stuff work, right? What are the actual mechanics scientifically of this whole kerfuffle, right? And so then she ends up finding the scientific bit that the others haven't reached, right? And so then it's we need to do things. All right, this is how.
And so she hides it from them, which
makes total sense.
I would love to see also. Was it the point when she was talking with Burned, where she saw the readings that basically gave her the idea? Was it something that she understood because at some point she just extrapolates that from what must have happened?
Or she bootstraps herself with tapes because she's been recording everything. And so it's the, hey, cool, as I'm filling you in on stuff about and you tell me to apologize to your dad and all that, to our dad and all that stuff. Hey, also listen to this 60 hours of, pruned down scientific discovery I've done on this.
We know that she is capable of bootstrapping herself because that's what she says Martha is capable of doing as well.
Right, exactly.
And that's why Martha was so strong of an opponent, is that she's basically prepared every type of defense possible against somebody that's doing kind of the easier part, which is just, I just want to break things. Adam's thing of breaking stuff is theoretically easier than trying to preserve stuff. Because you could just miss something and be like, oh shit, there it goes. The whole thing collapses on itself.
Right.
But because of the understanding of the mechanics, yes, I believe Claudia is bootstrapping herself, and it's irrelevant how many times, basically.
Right.
But
anything that her opponents would think of to do in this situation as a result of utilizing time travel, she would also think to do because she's smarter than they are, right? She knows this stuff on a deeper level than they do.
Yeah.
The whole bit of Jonas running and pre-doing the time machine and just suddenly him and Martha just that was awesome.
I also just love okay, I've done it. I'm now going to go die. Talking to her younger self.
Yep.
Even in her old age, just being like, you're now going to do the part with middle-aged Jonas and help push this whole side of things there.
Yep.
And so her bootstrapping part in a lot of ways comes from not even necessarily going that far back. Like,
sure, or not bootstrapping very often. Like if you think like just like the whole comment of like, oh, you'd have to have crazy mental and emotional elasticity, you know, to just exist in this narrative, right?
Right.
One of the worst things that you could do is try and bootstrap yourself before, like, a decent amount of time before you die, right? Because then it's okay, it takes 12 hours for me to communicate all the relevant stuff to you, but then also, oh, hey, but I did this 10 years ago, but for you it was like 5 days ago, and so, you know, and I do that 3 more times before I kick the bucket, like, you know, that... Don't muddy the waters, right? Just do it at the very end.
It's just gonna be really tough.
Hey, this is very important. There will be a test.
But also, you're like,
you need to get this right.
I kind of like my tragic origin story. You know, like I want to keep that because, you know, it's pretty.
It's a hell of a motivator.
It's a hell of a motivator. It's keeping me going.
God, and taking that into the parallel context of like generational trauma and being like, well, hang on, I don't want to resolve my generational trauma just yet. That dirty fuel is very powerful.
It's dirty, but it gets the job done. Yeah, I do love Martha and or Ava and Adam having their scene of I put down the gun. I have no enemies.
I didn't even have bullets in it. You know,
I didn't even have bullets in it.
I made the decision. This is not something that's going to be left up to the mechanics of time.
Yeah. And so having them acknowledging to each other, we're the mistake, when this show kind of in some ways felt like it was giving us throughout all of this, these two are what's right. And
young love will win out. It's like, no, she's his aunt. It is in fact.
No, there's
supposed to be.
There's a universe probably where they could have come about non-incestuously, maybe.
Well, and I think theoretically that's what's. Wait, hang on.
No, because they never exist.
No, I was thinking in the other origin universe. Now that everything's been put right, but when I think about it,
no, because no Ulrich, no.
Yeah, exactly. Jonas won't even be Jonas as he normally would be because genetic differences and
complete, total different
all that
stuff there. Yeah,
right. And then as for Martha, there's no Ulrich, so yeah, like even if Katarina did end up getting with somebody.
Yeah, it would be completely different.
So, that police inspector that showed up, to to see what was going on. He moves over here just cause, and then him and Katarina get together and I don't know.
Wasn't that her dad though?
What?
You're talking about this guy?
No. The guy that comes in and starts poking around and asking all the questions.
In season 2?
Yeah. Like.
Oh God, no. But yeah, having also then 10 House's family problems being then a symbolic kind of stand-in for the entire show's narrative also feels just apropos as well, because it has been this problem over and over again in the story, is that the kids are suffering because of the sins of the parents.
Yes.
The parents are not capable of taking a step back, letting go, taking responsibility.
Not trying to control the younger generation's future.
Right. And then end up basically by their own desire that they are unwilling to let go of, pushing suffering onto them.
Yep.
And you could also argue that this is the most chaotic, random happenstance. It doesn't have anything to do with 10 House. This is just a tragedy. Because in a lot of ways, is. You can't really blame 10 House
could not
for
have known that all the crazy stuff was going to happen.
Well, that they were going to have an accident on a bridge somewhere.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, that has almost nothing to do with 10 House.
All right. So going into commentary and morals of the story and the lesson for the audience, it's that hey, time is limited and it's precious, and you never know when your time with someone will be your last, right? Which is very ironic given what this show is.
Yes.
But so then to have in the resolution that to be the conflict, that's fantastic. Like everything about how they did this, I think worked beautifully, right? With it being the cliche that we've seen in narrative of, I don't want the store, Dad, I don't want the family business, right? And then that, causing this rift, but then also down to the
I'm not going to inherit your will. I'm
right,
going
exactly.
to live my life.
I'm me. And that line of you might know everything about black holes and Higgs boson, whatever, but you don't know shit about me.
Bridges,
yeah, right, exactly. But you don't know anything about me.
Yeah.
Right? Like that cuts deep. Like we don't know what
we watched that over and over again with all the families.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. So
that was
it's
the problem.
Right. So it's both it works in a scene on its own that is then being introduced to us as a fresh thing that has the weight of resolving this story, while also being thematically relevant because it's the same kind of conflict we've been seeing over the course of the story. And then also the dialogue being written very well so that it pops and
it feels
and
natural,
works.
but it also has, thematic symbolism.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And then the idea that the thing that, every parent would want is they're trying to teach their child, right? But also bringing in all their own baggage into it. And so then that makes it not work.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, he ends up hearing this, the line of what we, know is a drop and what we don't know is an ocean and all that stuff. That's the line that ends up basically being the thing that, makes him realize, okay, yeah, let's trust these people. The bridge is out. We'll leave tomorrow, and it not being something that magically fixes everything, but we just see, okay, like we can see the future. The crisis has been averted, both them dying and also the emotional one of the sundering of the relationship.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love also how much Jonas and Martha kind of do look in a lot of ways like they're just the way the actors needed to communicate in a very in a very limited demonstrative, not very theatric way, that every word that they said, every action that they took had such consequence that they almost felt like stiff wooden, like,
oh yeah,
I will say this,
Yeah, right. Like they probably rehearsed this a little bit. They were probably like, okay, so how do we stop the car? Well, we'll stand in the road. Okay, we should probably do that a ways away from the bridge, right? Yes, that is a very good idea. Make it in an intersection so there's no trees nearby for them to run
intersection, into. We can guarantee they'll come through.
Oh, yeah,
here.
Okay, all right, perfect.
This is where everyone drives through when they're going through the town.
And then we need to be careful that we don't say too much. Yeah, that's right. But then also just the fact that with all the shit that they've seen, like this show does such a good job of selling us on the crazy levels of like grappling that the characters need to do in a short period of time to adjust to things.
Yeah.
While at the same time, like, you don't want that to take a lot of time because we've seen that kind of stuff before, right? But also it needs to be sold that the characters do it, like, go through it because this is their first time doing it in this way, right?
Yeah.
And so the acting is fantastic and all of that. But then, angry big dude comes out of the car and is like, what the hell was that? What are you doing?
And they have to sit there and be like,
they do not
don't emote.
Yeah.
Don't do anything.
No, but
look as in some ways almost as intimidating without showing emotion, and that we are serious and you need to listen to us.
But I don't think that was particularly difficult.
No.
Because this dude's all huffing and like, you should be scared of
me.
me.
And they're like, we've seen some shit like war sounds, trauma surrounding them.
And he just sees the 1,000-yard stare in their eyes as they're like, the bridge is closed, there's been an accident, right? And then saying his dad's, favorite line that he's probably heard so many times, right, in every lecture.
That's the part that also like wigs me out. How did they know to say that? Like literally think about it.
So
like,
okay. So I think that a lot of this was while there would be a decent amount of planning behind the scenes that we don't see, I think a lot of it was improvised. It's truncated off screen, but then I think a lot of it was also improvised.
Sure.
And there's that element of where this is the fairy tale magic of the fact that one, they just saw potentially all kinds of stuff throughout time with like the closet, thing and all that stuff. But it's the okay, let's just think about this. What are, of all the things that we've heard, what's something that I can say that will shake this guy, right? And maybe
oh shit, that worked, you know? Like,
yeah, but also there could be that part of them that's like, oh, that line. Yeah, we know that his dad, you know, is the one who ends up inventing time travel. Sure, that, you know, like, not that they would know that his dad would have said that, but just the idea of...
Yeah. There is something in that Adam told Jonas that, but I would almost love to trace the genealogy of that line.
Of that saying, yeah.
Yeah, throughout the show. Because now I'm like, wait, we've heard it
several
all the way,
times.
I believe.
The first time was Burned.
Was Burned Doppler saying this to Claudia.
Mm-hmm. Yep, when she took over the plant, yeah.
Right, which is fun because then you could have Claudia eventually saying it to Adam, who says it to Jonas.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that Burned somebody then from outside of the, like, time.
Yeah, we're already not in the original world, yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Says that.
Well,
like,
so here's another potential theory.
Yeah, what are your theories of things that feel like...
So
the show didn't explicitly say these things, but they hinted at them.
Yeah, so the fact that they used that line, I think, could also be an implication that as a result of the world splitting, right, and all that stuff, that that line got bootstrapped in through everything.
Sure.
That ever since, you know, that it was something that you know, Tenhouse used to say.
This loop
right?
could have gone an innumerable number of times.
Yeah, exactly. And so Tenhouse ended up telling it to somebody that, you know, told it to Burned or whatever, and then, you know, oh, hey, it's in the cycle, and Burned tells it to Claudia, and it all goes throughout.
But then that's the other part here. We never saw the loop, and I love that.
Sure.
The show basically decided, hey, we will never show you the actual, like, full reset point because it's not about there being a point of reset. It is all propagated all by itself.
Right.
You're playing the game wrong if you think about there being a starting and ending point.
Well, or put another way, you're thinking about art wrong if you think that a painting has to have every single little detail and be photorealistic, right? It's you paint in the strokes so that way your mind fills in the rest, right? And that's what's effectively happening here.
Yes.
You know, right, where the acting of the characters, right? You know, the setup to get to this point, all of those things make it so that when we get that line, even if we can't trace the exact genealogy on a conscious level and know, this is exactly why it makes sense that Jonas would know to say this line.
Deja vu exists in this world.
Exactly.
The glitch in the Matrix is a thing.
Yep.
The yellow jacket that, was also in the other universe for the... Like, there's things that they played with in almost a comedic way to tease us, the audience.
Right.
And those kinds of things are another little facet of why I love time travel stories, is that you can be obviously referential to a genre for those that are savvy of the genre just to have fun with it.
Glitch in the Matrix.
But you can also have things that are, like, playful red herrings and that they have no real plot implication.
Sure.
But they're there to make you and the characters just kind of go, wait.
Yeah. And who knows?
This means something.
Maybe when you're shopping for clothes, right? And there's that outfit that just, I don't know, it stands out to you. Maybe it's actually that you've worn it before.
Yeah, maybe. I think my brain is so full of fuck right now.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't have actually as many like theories that I want to explore.
Well,
that's why I had to ask you.
Well, no, but
maybe you'll remind me of
No, but
some.
I think that's one of the reasons why this ending is so wonderful and why it's damn impressive that they were able to do it. We've been doing nothing but theories this entire goddamn show.
Now I don't have anything to theorize about.
Even when we try to rein it in and be like, all right, this is a simple episode. We'll be able to have this be a short discussion.
Right.
Hour and a half
at
later.
the end of season 2.
Yeah.
Now the plot has solidified itself. It's gotten less complicated.
Yeah. And then, you've been here for the journey. So to have an ending that makes us not want to go into all kinds of crazy theorizing, right? That finally quiets that, and just like middle-aged Jonas becoming Adam, just smothering Hannah in the bed, it's like, shh, you're not needed anymore, right?
Yeah.
Us doing the show, doing that to
we
our
finished
theorizing.
that like 2 episodes ago.
Right, exactly.
Like in a lot of ways, the last 2 episodes, including this one,
lap.
were the finale.
Yeah.
And the previous one before that was just the, like, So do you think Martha might actually be the linchpin to all of this? And we're like, nope. Like, you think this is gonna work? Hell no.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah. And the thing is, so one of the other reasons why I love some of the structure of this show.
Mm-hmm.
So much of this show, if you think about it, is drama.
Oh,
drama on drama on drama.
Man, I could clean like 10 bathrooms with all the soap. That,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
came
exactly,
out of
right?
this. Yeah.
So like, what's the point of it, right? It's a fun ride, I guess. But what's the actual point of it?
Yeah.
Well, given that the themes are all about the characters not being able to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not the point. The solution is actually like really simple if you just sort of like stopped.
Yeah. You're in a labyrinth and it's okay to stop and breathe.
Yeah. If you're ever lost, the thing that you do is you stop moving.
Yeah.
Like
and humanity cannot stand stasis.
Sure.
As human beings, our very nature is to vibrate and hum with life and energy and everything. It is in some ways anathema. It is a point of, well, it is death.
Mm-hmm.
Stasis is death. And thus, Adam's whole thing of like, it is our point to reconcile ourselves with death.
Sure.
To walk boldly forth into it.
Mm-hmm.
And thus I love that the ending is basically all the main characters, most of them, willingly accepting their end and their death.
Yeah.
Because the dark is scary.
Yeah.
There's a lot of secrets and scary things out there that you don't understand.
No.
But yeah, it's beautifully playing with some of the actually kind of I would say heartwarming aspects about nihilism.
Don't worry, you're a small insignificant speck in an uncaring universe.
No, but that's the point. Is that like in a lot of ways, it's okay to not have all the answers.
Right.
It's okay to not know.
It's okay to be lost.
What's at the end of the tunnel? Mm-hmm. It's okay to not get to the center of the labyrinth.
Right.
There's no scary monster chasing you.
You're not the center of the universe. You're not the main character, so you don't need to go on some epic quest.
Yeah, there's just something so impactful to me about a story tackling time travel in a way that gets at some of the aspects of nihilism, which are rather scary at times if you look at it from a certain perspective. But then to also give this heartwarming look at that through the lens of these characters who don't know the life that they've been gifted and given as they look towards the, is this the end of Linden? And it's what would you wish for? It's like, well, I would wish that, and then the light goes on. It's like, well, you know what? Guess it's not today.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Guess it's not today.
Right.
And that warms the cockles of my heart.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, okay. The one theory, and not really theory, more just question, thing that made me think in this episode where I'm like, wait, hang on. So when all the things are disappearing, when all the people are disappearing and like the chalk on the wall, with the names and all that stuff, and, right, really cool, really awesome. Thank you for that music choice again. Thank you. Shouldn't the whole universe be disappearing?
I think that...
If it's not, does that mean that...
I think that might be an example of where, in a lot of ways, it's not that the universe needs to completely collapse, it's that the universe is collapsing. It's having things fade to dust. Those are by definition like
the ground and earth and the world and the planets and the solar system and everything, that happens later. That takes a bit longer to fade into dust.
Even if it's not that it fades entirely into to later or what have you. You think that all these worlds came into being because of time travel? Are you thinking so limited in your dimensionality that these things need time in order to exist? Like, is time the highest form of reality?
Okay.
See what I'm saying there?
I gotcha. And that feels suitably trippy and dude,
whoa,
for the end of this show.
Right.
But then...
Because we were seeing the trickling light stuff earlier on in the show.
Sure.
And
yeah.
World
leads
wasn't
to a side of
collapsing.
grace. Yeah. Right. Sure.
So true, it is.
And so maybe that's the explanation, is that there's the beyond the fifth dimension and all that stuff,
fourth
or whatever.
dimension, but yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
That
we assume time is the fourth dimension, yeah.
right. There's something else to it, and so that's why, while the people disappear and all that stuff, the universe itself doesn't.
Right, because all these characters have been doing is just going through bridges, basically.
Sure.
Like, you could argue that the universe's infiniteness being basically just limited by our perspective means that in some ways we are the thing that then propagates the universe. And thus you could say that our way in which we move with time is the thing by which reality, which is just a really convincing illusion, even works. And sorry, I'm not actually like signing off on these, like these are Caleb's beliefs or what have you, but I'm just throwing these out there as esoteric enough and easy to understand enough reasons as to why we don't show literally the, all trees and caves and, cars and reactor, things just disappear,
Okay, so here's my final question then.
Okay.
Given that the origin, because this was something that I had actually been wondering about for a while.
Okay.
Given that the worlds are split.
Right.
And that there would be some reason of why they split, which we got in this episode, right?
We got it. Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Yeah. All the things of where people went to before the point of the split. So, Adam going back into the 1800s and all that stuff.
Yeah, what about that?
Well, it's before Tannhaus gets to the point where he would make the time machine.
It's irrelevant.
Right, because you're in a different universe.
Yeah.
And so...
Nah, it's irrelevant. Because essentially, the point that I feel like I've been trying to make this point for a while.
Okay.
Is that the reason why the caves and the 33 years thing and all that stuff is important is because the point at which basically the barrier of time travel... the barrier of whatever the bounds of time are that were shattered in order to create time travel.
Yeah.
That created ripple effects. And so you're going to have crazy rules like the 33-year thing. The fact that the points of most of the junctions happened in 1986. As opposed to like the fact that the apocalypse came 33 years after the 1986 junction thing there.
Okay.
Like if we looked at the structure of the timeline here, the apocalypse took 33 years to happen from the point at which the universe split. Because the universe split in 86.
Okay.
Right? And thus, basically, that's the point at which older, middle-aged Jonas goes there thinking he can stop things by doing some artificial gate creation in the caves at that point. And all he does is basically propagate it from himself, who's trying to destroy it at another point in time. But the thing is that was like the apocalypse in a lot of ways from the origin point world. So then that echoes again and repeats 33 years later in the new split universe. And that's why it's in 2019. If that makes sense.
Okay. I think I'm getting to the point where my brain is properly cooked. This now is an official dark discussion.
Yeah, this is a proper dark discussion.
Just as a thing to leave you off with, in case you find this fascinating as a rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, sure.
So, the way that you divide a dimension is with an infinite amount of x minus 1 dimension. So, a point divides a line. A line divides a plane divides volume.
Yeah.
And so what divides time?
Right.
And so if that, I don't know if this is how it works, but if that's the reason of why with the whole like shows with time travel and all that stuff, because extrapolating for a theoretical, that you get the entirely separate universe is because time was split, and the only way that can happen is with then infinite amount of volume. That's a universe, right?
Right.
So then, yeah. Trippy stuff.
Yeah, trippy, crazy stuff. Yeah. But, all right, that's That's dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's dark.
Yep.
Signing off, saying goodbye to these characters.
Yeah.
Damn. All this in 26 episodes.
Right. That's the thing that's wild. Like the difference from the original like season 1, what we had, investigating, okay, there was a time travel thing. All right, cool. To what we get here, it's like
fun.
That's fun.
I do think now looking back though, I like season 2 more than season 3.
I think that's very fair. I think
it's the structure of things being limited in season 3 to resolving the story.
Yes, I think
it makes certain things in season 2 more exciting.
Well, and also I think
there's able to play with our
there's an element of where
expectations and emotions better.
Certain things that characters do in the show when they know about the complicatedness of the time loop. Sure, they do things that play into that time loop because they're not trying to muck with time.
Right.
But if they aren't aware of all the different things that have happened over the course of the show that they weren't privy to, like, why did Hannah go back to then to meet with Jonas, right? Like little things like that, where it's like, that feels like she was informed of what the show would allow and what would be possible rather than like what she would think to do as like a person, you know?
It's the kind of thing that...
And I think that's one of the reasons why season 2 works so much better is because then kind of everyone's in the know. And so they're able to go full hog wild with the time travel and all that stuff without needing to worry about, concluding everything, but also everyone's been introduced to it. So,
Right. Yeah. I think it's more so that also, it's not that the seasons got more good than season 3 does. I think it's just that there's like 2 or 3 episodes in season 2 that thinking back on it, I'm like, those were perfect episodes of television. Those are perfect episodes of television. And season 3 has like 1 or 2 of those
Season
as well.
3 is damn good television.
But yeah, I think it's also just that, like you're saying, the acting is able to go further in my mind in certain scenes and episodes because of the structure of things.
There were also some episodes in this season that or there were not episodes, maybe rather there were certain moments where it's like, oh man, that is brutal and I don't particularly want to watch that, kind of a thing.
Well, yeah, I think it's also because it's the other world. Like we had to spend a lot of time building up the way in which this
and all the differences and
this
things
Martha
like that.
is going to be the main character.
And also that investigator guy was really fun to see how he made the plot move.
Oh yeah, he was really
really
that
was great.
Yeah, I would love to do a dark episode
although season 1 might be my favorite.
Like hyper analysis of the episodes in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Like a tier list review. It sounds like just shitty basic YouTube content. But
right.
It's the kind of thing I feel like that Dark deserves to have the individual episodes themselves gushed about.
I'm actually
even more so than just a reaction,
Yes. I will say though, I think actually season 1 is the strongest. And the reason why I think it's the strongest is Helga and Noah.
Oh, Noah's built different.
Noah's built different.
Different.
And the quality of the later seasons, I think, is a testament to the fact that they were able to have the antagonistic forces strong foundation because of Noah, but then also they were able to have antagonistic forces that weren't Noah and didn't feel just like cheap discounts,
No, totally.
Right?
I absolutely agree, but I think the stuff that they followed up on with the foundation of season 1
was fantastic.
Was just way more entertaining.
Okay.
And thus I'd still
it'd
put
probably
it above.
take a rewatch.
It'd take a rewatch, and I think that's actually where I'm coming from a little bit is that
because you have rewatched a bunch.
I am in the end point of season 2 on the rewatch, basically.
Okay. But yeah, there was just something that was so
it's probably some recency bias.
Sure,
too.
but there was something that was just so awesome about Noah just showing up. And we don't know what his deal is. He's just a priest that we do not trust, and all of that stuff. And maybe that's also the first experience bias,
Well, also,
right? But damn.
Also, that's another thing. Noah, from that perspective, kind of, in a lot of ways, is a bait and switch.
Yes.
In a clever way, because we should have been paying attention more to what mechanics and types of things that middle-aged Jonas was trying to inform us of, because we could logically assume then that Noah was operating on similar principles and thus would have the same kind of limitations and even even in some ways similar types of goals.
Well, maybe.
Now, I think we did clue into that eventually.
I think there's an element of where Noah, in hindsight, might not age as well with the motivation that he ends up getting and then looking at the stuff that he does earlier. But the thing is that with a time travel show, the blanket of I must do whatever is necessary in order to get to my ultimate end goal where everything will be fine covers so much of those issues that most shows do not address, right?
Right.
And usually it's just a gaping hole when you go back and you're like, why are you like this? You this gets retconned later, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, wow, deserving of all the praise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad we watched this show.
Thank you
now
for
we're
picking
going.
me.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really glad we watched this one. But we're going to be watching another show that I'm very excited to continue.
To peak.
Also, another one that is going to be then ending in a very fun, dramatic way.
Yep.
We're going back to the world of Star Wars with Andor Season 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, y'all, I know it's a very different type of show, but for Season 1 is peak. So check it out if you haven't yet. I'm giving you all a thing here. I literally quoted Andor Season 1 somewhere in this reaction. If you could find it. You have to go back in time and see it.
The excitement levels, though, that must have been elicited by it's like, oh yeah, we're going to another show. Yeah, peak to peak. We're going back to Star Wars. Boom. Andor.
But yeah, if you want to watch the first episode's reaction to Andor Season 2 right now, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You got on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about other shows in general. And if you want to catch us on live stuff, go check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.